speakers, Mpolokeng Modau, who is a director at the Kuna Consulting, and Josephine Chinake, the founder of Project Girls for Girls. Welcome, leaders, and we are in your hands. I think before I let you roll with it, just to recap on the first session we had, for those who were not part of that session, and I'm sure you will do a build up to that. We looked at issues around self-knowledge, self-acceptedness or self-application, self-love, and how as women we need to be able to feel ourselves first before, you know, we pour onto others, before we are our time and our skills and our being is, you know, contested with the world and all life demands. You also spoke to us, the guest speakers also spoke to us about transfer of experiences as women, and how sometimes women are really torn down just because they are women and they are not appreciated by the society and loved ones or colleagues at work. And we also looked at issues of constructive criticism, that criticism is good, but then it needs to be constructive. And I would like to put in there, you know, to be careful of issues of the PhD syndrome, you know, pull hair down syndrome, where as women we are too quick to criticize each other and point at, you know, all the negative aspects of another woman without alluding to the positive aspects as well of the same woman. So, you know, and I think one of you, the guest speaker, spoke also about issues of, and I'm paraphrasing, that people, you know, hurt people hurt people. So sometimes the people you surround yourself with, you need to be careful who's around you. Are they feeding onto you, or are they stealing from you as a person? You also spoke to issues of stereotyping of women, women's roles in societies, how women are sometimes defined by the social constructs of the roles they are supposed to play. The questioning of women's power also, you alluded to, informal structures, informal structures, you know, formal structures including government and institutions that we interact with in our daily lives. So those are some of the things that really kept us involved in the discussions we had in the first Women's Dialogue. And today, I'm sure it is a build-up and drawing in some of these aspects as well. And to those who are joining first time, we will address issues that you raise as you raise them. And we will have a Q&A session, or, you know, comment session, where you do raise issues or even, you know, contribute with new areas of whatever aspect you would like to bring into the discussion. So you will raise your hand. We will take questions from the platform. We will take questions from the chat box. Mpolokeng and Josephine, we are at your mercy from here on.
Thank you so much, Desiree, and thank you everyone for finding the time to dialogue with us today as women. It's always a good time to interact with women of the same sex, no matter how you identify. As long as you identify as a woman, that's still fine with us. So I'm super excited to be here, to be talking to you ladies in length about so many issues that affect us, so many issues that we have to tackle and go through as we live our lives, be it at home, be it at work, and everywhere, how we conduct ourselves. So I'm going to ask Mpolokeng if she's here, because I don't see her. Mpolokeng, are you here with us?
Hi, Josie. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I was getting worried because I couldn't see you. All right, so to kickstart, it's going to be a build-up from the last conversation that we had, and we are going to try to lightly touch on those issues. So the session that we prefer is very interactive, so please make use of the chat box. Ask your questions, your contributions, because we'll be actually referring to some of them as the session goes. So to kickstart the discussion, Mpolokeng, my dear, what is the definition of a woman leader and a woman in power in your own words?
Josie, and thank you everybody for tuning in and joining us in today's discussion. And like we spoke on Monday, that a woman leader, it's someone who knows who they are. It's one of the most important things. I always say that people use this concept of being selfish loosely. And it's such a beautiful concept that I believe everybody should possess. One should be selfish in the sense that they should put themselves at the top of everything, you know, putting yourself before everybody else, understanding yourself first. And in having said that, it's somebody who has a strong sense of belief in what they can offer. But for you to understand what you can offer, you need to know yourself and use the skills to implement that which you have been called to do in so many different aspects of our lives. I would like for you to open your mind up. It's not only for the workspace, you know, for the formal workspace, but also in your own private life. And then a woman in power, it's that one who has a sense of authority and influence. And I did mention that power is something that everybody should possess. It's something that we all, you know, when you start talking about, oh, she's so power hungry, all of us should be power hungry, because power allows us to implement things. It's a driving force, it's an enabler in our lives in order for us to implement things that we have been mandated to do, and things for us to implement the agendas that we have in our different lives.
That's good. Thank you so much, Mpolokeng. And for a woman leader, you need to have that self-belief. You need to believe in yourself that you can actually do this. And we all have that power. But the question that I will pose to you today, what is your superpower? What do you think is your superpower? And we can actually respond in the chat box so that we can see what you think are your superpowers, and then we can build on that. So, Mpolokeng, just another question. What do you think is the main difference between a woman leader and a woman in power? What is that main differentiator between those two people?
I think when it comes to the two concepts, for me, I never really want to differentiate, but I really want to look at their interrelatedness, because I believe that they're interrelated. One cannot exist without the other. When it comes to women in leadership, you need the power as an enabler for you to enforce whatever it is that you need to implement. And when we talk about power, like I had said, as the authority and the influence, it enables us to have influence. And if you don't have an influence as a leader, who's going to listen to you? So you're somewhat might as well sit down.
Definitely, 100%. And I like the fact that you mentioned that both these two people, a woman in leadership and a woman with power, they both possess some power of some sort. And then this leads me to a topic that I like to talk to women about, to say and to let you know that you've got a choice in each and everything that you do. A choice to be a good person, a choice to be a bad person, a choice to be a very good leader, and a choice to be a very bad leader. It's all depending with you and your values. So this leads up to the leadership style that you have as a leader. So this leadership aspect, it starts with you. And I would like to say something about a topic that's called self-leadership. So self-leadership is you as a lady leading yourself. This is you leading yourself each and every day. When you wake up to you sleep, the decisions that you make every day, that will make you grow, that will make you cross paths with people. That is you leading yourself into greatness. You actually need to know yourself for you to do this. And to put in something that was hot from the last session, the topic about emotional intelligence. I would like you ladies to say something if you know something about emotional intelligence, so that we can refer to it. And back to you, Mpolokeng. What is emotional intelligence to you, and how does it help you as a woman leader?
Okay, so emotional intelligence, it's your ability as an individual, as a woman, to perceive, to use, to understand, and to manage emotions. And this is something that we hardly ever get to talk about because we are not taught about the concept of emotional intelligence. It's not something that you sit in a classroom and your teacher starts talking about what emotional intelligence is. But it's something that it's part of your developmental process as a person. And it starts from an early age, your early childhood development. And that's why it is so important for people to know where they come from, not necessarily your ancestry per se, but know yourself, where you come from in terms of your upbringing, because your upbringing contributes so much and creates the solidity of or the foundation of your early childhood development. And when we talk emotional intelligence in terms of how can one be regarded as emotionally intelligent, there's so many different aspects like your social skills, your self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and self-awareness. And these are things that you don't just know, Yes, if you are lucky, you are born knowing. But these are things that you need to learn along the way. We spoke about getting mentors, we spoke about coaching, and these are the people that help you, because as you interact with people, you are able to reflect. You are able to reflect on yourself. Social skills, how you communicate with different people. Yesterday I was in another webinar where we were talking about communication, that communication is a two-way fold, where there's always two communications happening, one in your mind and the actual one happening in front of you. And also two ways about it as well. It's you as the communicator putting across what you are saying, and the person who's receiving, interpreting what you are saying, comprehension part of it. And you hear often people say that, what, I'm not responsible of how people take what I am saying. And that's where the self-awareness, the empathy comes in. You may not be responsible of how people interpret what you are saying. However, you need to keep in mind, keep cognizant of the fact that people are going through the most right now. And as they're going through the most, people can just snap. People are taking bombs. Another is that you don't know what they're going through in their personal lives. So emotional intelligence allows you to process all of those emotions and feelings. It allows you to perceive, it allows you to use, it allows you to understand others as well.
That is very powerful. Thank you so much, Mpolokeng. And I'm just looking at the chat box, and then Tato says, my superpower is attention to detail. I'm very attentive and analytical. That is a huge superpower that most of us need to have. We need to actually pay attention as and when it happens. Tepiso says that my superpower is definitely my ability to think on the spot. That's a good one. That's really a good one. And I think as leaders, we need to be fast thinkers and very critical analysts so that we solve problems as and when they happen. And sorry for digressing, but back to the topic at hand now about emotional intelligence. What I think about emotional intelligence is the need to study the people. You need to study the people you work with. You need to study the people who you are talking to as and when it happens. This happens when you pay attention, number one. Number two, you listen to understand and not to respond. Let me say this again so that you get it very well. Listen to understand, not listen to respond. That is emotional intelligence. And as ladies, we need to communicate very effectively. Like Paul said, it's a two-way communication. You need to talk and then give way for the other person to talk, and then you listen. You listen to understand, not to respond. And we also need to be very empathetic, like she said. I think empathy is a great tool that we should all possess as leaders. And that would make our leadership journey very easy for us. And from emotional intelligence, Mpo, you said something about self-mastery, right?
Yes, self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Yes.
What is self-awareness, and why is it important to a leader?
Okay, so it's Now you have made my mind go in different directions there.
Okay, let's talk about
self-awareness, self-mastery. Yes, they are connected. I'll talk about both of them.
Right.
So when you are self-aware, it's when you are aware of your own personality. And when you are aware of your own personality, you are aware of your own brokenness, your own flaws, being aware of your own trauma. Remember, I said that early childhood development and the importance it plays in our development, in how we perceive things, in how we form perceptions, opinions, and whatnot. It comes in there. When you know and understand your own traumas, you know there's this concept of decontextualized trauma. And decontextualized trauma, sometimes it looks normal. And as it's normal, it's perceived as human traits, whereas it's not human traits. It's people walking around with wounds that needs to be healed. I know I'm opening a can of worms into something that is so deep and something that requires a lot of time to just break it apart and digest and whatnot. But let me move over. Maybe we can come back to trauma a bit later on if we do have time. When we talk about self-mastery, right, it's your ability to control your own emotions, your own desires, and your own impulses. This is something that is very important because your ability to control your anger will help you not to have outbursts where outbursts are not necessary. It will help you also assess situations where there is no place for anger, but rather understanding. For an example, I will make an example with what I went through this week, whereby I was getting messages from someone, a family member, and I felt it was making me so angry. It was making me so angry, and I wanted to respond. At some point, I did type a book because, you know, as speakers, we are good at writing too. I did type a book, and I just wanted to just, you know, offload. But in that moment, I regulated myself. Remember, I said being emotionally intelligent comes with self-regulation as well. And I had to assess in terms of the damage that me pressing send will bring, the after effects. Yes, it was going to be good for me to take out whatever it is that I was feeling. But in that moment, I also had to check myself and see what damage am I going to do? Also, sometimes we have outbursts and we're thinking, yeah, I've won the argument, you know, I've won the debate, but only to find that, you know what, you didn't win anything. In actual fact, you just handed over your power. So it works hand in hand with emotional intelligence, being aware, mastering your own self. I always say to people that we spend so much time learning other people. We spend so much time learning other people in our lives, our bosses, our boyfriends, our partners, our friends. But do we spend as much time learning ourselves? We spend so much time wondering if people like us, but never ever considering whether do we like ourselves. You know, spending so much time wondering, does Josie like me? Question is that, Mpolokeng, do you like yourself? Have you ever spent time with you and assessed yourself and know yourself and master yourself, mastering your emotions, mastering your feelings, your actions, the things that comes out of your mouth that has so much power to build or break? And that is what is most important when we talk about emotional intelligence, when we talk about leadership, when you talk about power. All of these things come hand in hand. They just, you know, form part of the dots in terms of how to make you a greater human being. Not even so much a greater leader, but a greater human being. So we walk around with so many things that trigger us. But when you know your triggers, when you know your trauma, when you know where your demons originate from, you will know your triggers. And that's where you master yourself. And when you know what triggers you, you are able to have a grip on it much better and handle it much better, especially when you are around other people.
Oh, wow. That is huge. If you are able to have self-control, to have self-love, to know yourself to the deepest and how you react in situations when you're happy, when you are cornered, that is self-mastery. Thank you so much for that, Mpolokeng. And just looking back at the chat box, I'm seeing some interesting superpowers. Some are saying perseverance, some are saying accountability, humility, and then confidence. I like what Lauren said, confidence. You need to have confidence as a leader. As ladies, when we walk in whatever we do, we need to exude confidence. Be prepared to do anything it takes for you to achieve your dream. You need to be a very critical thinker who's able to deliver. Oh.
I'm trying to check who it is. Leaders, please put off your mic.
So the individual is Sarah, student number 2120807776.
Sarah, please put your mic off. Thank you. Thanks, Lana.
I think she's corrected that. So that's fine. So coming back to our topic of self-control, we need to know ourselves very well as ladies, and we need to know the art of self-regulation, to know that okay, I'm in between a rock and a hard surface. What should I do for myself? And you need to take care of yourself so that you prevent other adverse effects, even to your mental well-being, even your emotional well-being. As women leaders, we need to take care of ourselves as always. So which leads me into another interesting topic that I think we can touch on as ladies, about mental wellness. Why do you think mental wellness is crucial for us? And Mpolokeng, I think you can take that question as well. Why should we always be mentally fit?
Mental wellness, it's something that is, I think it has made the buzz right now. Social media, people are becoming aware now of the importance of our mental wellness and keeping mentally healthy, right? It is important so that we are able to perform in our everyday life, key functions and activities in our everyday life. And it allows us to learn and unlearn. I always say that the most powerful tool any human being can allow themselves mentally is to learn and unlearn and be able to be corrected. We learn things, and as we grow old, we see that, this actually forms part of character defects, and it's something that you need to unlearn. And there's so much power that lies within learning and unlearning. It allows us to feel and express our feelings and our emotions. When you are mentally well, you are able to do so. I'm not going to say perfectly, because yes, like I said the last time, there's no such thing as perfection, but right. It allows you to perform functions on your everyday life. It allows you to form and maintain good relationships with ourselves and others. I will always emphasize on ourselves, because everything begins with you as an individual. The buck stops with you, because at the end of the day, your mind, it's you. And that is the foundation of everything. So yeah, I don't want to say much, because I want to allow other people to to also say their bits and pieces and interact.
That's great. Thank you, Mpo. And I like what you said about that just now. Your statement when you said it all begins with you. So for you to be mentally well, it begins with you. It's you taking care of yourself. And then looking at the chat box, Chilombo said that women leaders, we need to be mentally fit, because it's the fitness that determines how we function and make decisions and run affairs. You are very, very right, Chilombo. It has a bearing on how we function as leaders and the leadership styles that we have. And then Nazifa says, I hope I'm not butchering your name, mental wellness is quality important for a woman and a man. Mental wellness is the most important factor in leading a happy and fruitful life. That is good. And thank you so much for the interaction in the chat box. Keep the messages coming. And if you've got any questions, please send them through so that we can respond to them when the Q&A session comes, and then we just keep interacting. And I'd like to mention something about protecting your peace. There's that statement where where you see when someone is in a corner and then someone just sends a message to say, protect your peace. What is this peace that we're talking about? This is the inner peace, to say that you are at par with yourself. You sit yourself down, have a conversation with yourself, and get things in order. And then for myself, as Josephine, I sit myself down and have conversations with myself, whether this is in public or this is in private, but I always take time to sit down and reconnect. That is something that I like to call my me time. And I think if all of us as leaders, if we practice that, to spend some me time with yourself, reevaluating where you went wrong, what you did right, how you can do it better, it would be very good. And then this leads us back to the topic of taking care of yourself. So these topics, they are very intertwined, from emotional intelligence to self-mastery to mental wellness. And I like that, Paul, you said something about mental wellness and how we are realizing it now. And I can confirm that as I grew up, it was termed as a white man's disease, in air quotes, to say that Tina, as Black people, we don't suffer from mental breakdowns and everything like that, but it's something that is plaguing us now. And I like that there are so many people who are trying to take care of it to help us and actually grow. And Mpo, I've got a question for you. What do you think is the importance of taking your self-care and taking care of self?
You know, Josie, you just took my mind. Oh my goodness, my mind goes to so many different directions at the same time. Let me let me control myself. You say something about having discussions with yourself. I remember one day a friend of mine said to me, we were coming from a lunch together, and she's like, "So what are you gonna do with the rest of your day?" And I said, "No, I'm gonna think." And that's what I said to her. I said, "I'm gonna think." And she's like, "What?" I said, yeah, I'm going to think.
Oh, yes.
She's like, who spends time thinking? I'm like, that is me. I spend time thinking. You know, it's like you say, it's part of you taking care of you and making sure that you visit your mind and you do an assessment and a sweep through and check what parts of me do I need to fix? What parts of me does need healing today? Because on a daily basis, we come across things that hurts. We come across things that makes us happy. We come across things that could potentially break us, and we need to keep stock and account, living in the present and going through all of those things on a daily basis. I do that every day. I sit and I go through my day and I say, oh, okay, there I did wrong, there I did wrong. But anyway, let me come back. We're talking about about taking care of yourself and the importance of it. You said something earlier on, Josie, about your inner peace. I always say that peace is something that comes from within. And if external factors affect what is within, there is something wrong with that picture. There's absolutely something wrong with that picture. And you should not be in that situation where something from the outside is affecting what is internally inside of you. So it's very much your responsibility. As much as it is so important to protect it, it is your responsibility to do so. And I cannot stress it hard enough. You know, when you are no longer, I always say that when you are no longer being served, it's important to understand how environment plays on our mental wellness and on our emotional well-being. And when you are no longer served, it is very much easy for one to get up and go, because what comes after you not going up, getting up and going, it's something that is potentially going to be toxic, either toxic people or toxic environment. We spoke about hoarding the last session, where we spoke about we love hoarding people, we love hoarding things in our lives, things that do not bring any form of development, any form of growth, any form of adding happiness in our lives. Yes, it is all your responsibility to be happy and not other people's responsibility to make you happy. But however, if people do not bring all of those, if they are affecting your sense of peace, you need to cut them out. And I know it's something that is very hard, but I say it with such confidence because it's something that I have learned to do. Mina, I cut people out if you do not benefit me. And if I feel like I'm not adding value in your life, I don't stick around because I can see that it's not mutually beneficial. There's an analogy that I love about a house. You know, everybody in your own house, there's a yard, you know. And if you're not fenced, think about a house that has a boundary and has a fence. It's important to have boundaries in life. And when your neighbor starts throwing garbage in your yard, you can easily pick it up that, you know what, no, something is happening here. Somebody is bringing garbage into my yard. And you're able to say, you know what, wait, you're throwing garbage into my yard. Can you please stop doing that? You know, you call them to order. But when you do not have boundaries, you don't know where your yard begins. You don't know where your yard ends. Anybody can go and come in as they please. And, you know, people have absolutely no respect and they can just throw in whatever it is that they want to throw in and you can just take it and do as. So we need to have boundaries. As human beings, we need to have boundaries so that we are able to protect ourselves, and not only ourselves, but we are also able to protect others.
Oh, wow.
And the concept, and sorry, I just want to say this again. I said it on Monday that as human beings, can we stop, especially as women? One, we love being superheroes. We believe that I can save that person. We believe that, oh, well, you know, I can see that this guy and we are not compatible because they have characteristics that I don't like in a guy or whatever. But you know what? I will change them. We love putting on a superhero cape and believing that we can change people as opposed to just upping and leaving and removing ourselves from situations that we should not be in. Not only that, setting ourselves on fire to keep other people warm. I cannot stress this enough. People love setting themselves on fire. They sit there in their corner suffering so that everybody around them are comfortable and are happy. The question is that if the tables were turned, would those people set themselves on fire while you are sitting and freezing?
And you have just opened another can of worms for me, right there, Mpo.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just make a comment on what you said earlier. When you talked of boundaries, I love that because it got me thinking. If you've got boundaries, it means that you've got self-respect. You respect yourself enough for you not to be bullied. You respect yourself enough to let people know how you feel. You self-advocate for yourself. You communicate what you want them to know so that you protect your peace, which is actually very good. And you mentioned something about your responsibility to be happy. It is your own responsibility to be happy as a woman. Don't place your happiness in someone because they can double cross you and then you'll be mad the next day. So if you want to be happy, it's your own responsibility to be happy. Of course, there are other factors that lead to the happiness, but it is your own responsibility to be happy. And I mentioned this in the last session, and I'm going to mention it again for the benefit of those who were not here, to say that as leaders, as women leaders, we need to have a permanent L-plat, that learning plate to say that I'm a learner on your back each and every day, because you learn new things every day, you unlearn new things, and then you have to relearn. And then I've just seen an interesting comment from the comment section from Joyce. She says that mental intelligence is about being able to deal with your emotions and unlearning some beliefs or other things. How does one unlearn the beliefs they grew up with? That is a big one. That is a crucial one, because you really can't change overnight, but it comes back to the conversation that we were having earlier about self-care, having conversations with yourself, putting yourself at par and at check to say that, listen, Joyce, this was wrong. Let's unlearn that. Let's relearn this. And then you learn something new. So it usually takes time, but that's how you get there. And Mpo, would you have a comment with regards to that about how to unlearn some of the things that you grew up with?
Yes. First and foremost, you need to obviously know what went wrong, where what went wrong. You spoke the other day about affirmations. I know people, when you talk about affirmations, they get to roll their eyes and say, oh, that again. But you know what? There's so much power in speaking to yourself and positively speaking to yourself. If you are a child who grew up hearing that you are good for nothing, and every day it was repeated, it got to a point that repetition got to a point where you got to believe it, right? So if you got to believe because of repetition, why can't you do the reversal of it? If you were told how ugly you were each and every day, then every day tell yourself how beautiful you are until you get to a point where you believe it. The power of belief, the power of the mind, it's what sets you different in terms of breaking away, and the learning and the unlearning. I tell my clients, I have done this with so many clients where they would roll their eyes the first time they hear me say affirmations. Affirm yourself, tell yourself how beautiful you are. I've had clients who found it easier to tell me each and every day when we keep stock and account about the negative characteristics, their own negative characteristics. And it got to a point where it's so exhausting. Because negative energy, it's exhausting and it needs to be balanced with positive energy. So each and every day you affirm yourself. You keep a diary or a journal where you speak positive unto yourself and you speak life unto yourself. I always say when I watch women seeing there's Josie in a beautiful red dress, and I say, oh, that's a beautiful red dress, but it would have been better on me as Mpolokeng as opposed to on Josie. Right there, there's an issue of language. And a lot of women speak negatively towards themselves. And that's when you hear them speaking negatively towards other people, because it gives you an indication of the type of language that they use towards themselves.
Definitely, you are 100% correct. And I'm just going through the chat box, and Toko Kadewere said, the strong Black woman mentality has harmed a lot of women. Can we talk about this?
She says,
the strong Black woman mentality has harmed a lot of women.
Oh, wow. Yes, definitely. Remember on Monday, I said that a lot of times society teaches us that you need to be strong. You need to be, it just came to me in a Zulu word. I'm not even Zulu, but there's a word that they use, begezela, hang in there. You are told to hang in there. It has hit hard to a lot of our sisters. I've got a podcast, a recording on my social media platform. If you guys can go and have a look, it's called Begezela Ntombazana, where I outline how many of our mothers came in body bags because they were told to hang in there. They were told that a woman does not air their dirty laundry in the public. You must keep quiet and sit on it. And it has brought so many of us bruised, many body bags, because they were told to hang in there. And I said on Monday, one thing about women being strong and women proving that they are strong, they do not need to hang in mediocre and prove to men that, you know what, I can continue to stay, be it in an abusive relationship, be it in an abusive workspace, in order for them to come back and say, I am strong. Men know that we are strong because they saw their own mothers being strong. They saw their own sisters being strong, their own grandmothers and aunties being strong. We don't need to wear pain as a badge of honor. Badge of honor for who, for what? Because a lot of women are sitting now depressed because of this very same notion of hang in there. Hang in there for what? You are hanging in there and looking at people and having smiles and living. You, on the other hand, seeming to be okay. There's this Latin word, the interpretation of that is that seeming rather than being. We don't want women to seem happy. We want women to be happy. Not seem happy, but be happy, because even as a leader in a workspace, sitting in that corner office, you deserve to be happy. And you don't have to choose to be a powerful, strong leading woman, or a woman sitting in the kitchen and cooking dinner and just being a parent. It doesn't have to, you don't have to choose. You can have it all, because there's so many who are having it all. We are having it all. So this notion of women just hanging in there and having pain as a badge of honor. You know what? This is 2021. This is 2021. Depression will hit you hard.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Mpo. And we keep going back to this self-affirmation thing, and I can't get it out of my head. You need to let yourself know that you can do this. You need to positively speak to yourself and to your life to say that I can do this, I can do this. And there's just one thing I would like us as leaders to know. I want you to know that as a woman leader, you are in no competition to be yourself with anyone. You are in no competition to be in a race with anyone. Run your own race. And remember this, you are in no competition with anyone to be yourself. And coming back to the questions, to the chat box, thank you so much for responding. And there's a request from Paul to share your online platform details from Lana. And thank you so much for the request. And then Margaret Wanza says happiness is everything. And like we said before, you are responsible for your own happiness. You are the only person who can make yourself happy. You can only make yourself very sad. So you need to take care of yourself, which takes us back to the self-mastery that we were talking about before. You need to know yourself and then master the art of self-mastery. And then, Mpo, another random question that I have. What is that one, or rather, let me ask it this way. What are your own personal values that guide you each and every day as you go about your days and you conduct your business?
For me, yeah, there's so much, but more than anything else, I respect myself. I respect myself. I respect that I always constantly need to show up for myself, because I cannot give people what I do not have. I need to show up for myself. I need to be consistent in terms of the message that I preach. And I can never, ever preach a message that I myself have not lived, because the proof of the, what do they say? The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. I should have tasted it first before I can go and tell people that it is done, it is doable. So therefore, if I can do it, then you can. It makes it easier for me to preach the message that I preach when I have lived it in so many ways. And I'm a very transparent person. You guys will see when you go on my social media, my life is all there, because I believe in transparency, because most of people around me, they keep me grounded in terms of being able to call me out and say, what is that? What did you just say? What did you just do? You know, and I'm able to correct myself. More than anything, I forgive myself. Guys, we are not perfect beings. I forgive myself. Where I falter, I am very quick to say, you know what, Nana, get up, dust yourself off, and do it again tomorrow. Forgive yourself. Many of us are carrying so many wounds because we don't want to forgive. It's like we need permission to forgive ourselves. Well, if you are sitting there and you need permission, I'm granting it to you today. You have permission to forgive yourself, because you know what? Being happy, it's not for the selected few. Being successful, it's not for the selected few. It belongs to all of us. It's there for all of us. And another thing, I don't pretend to know it all. I don't pretend to be perfect. I ask for help where I need to ask for help. Josie, I'm going to go on and on and on. I'm scared. I want to open for people to ask and also comment. Yes.
Thank you so much. And we know you're a speaker. We love hearing you speak, and it's live. It's live for us. And you've just spoken something that reminded me of my previous self before I became this powerful person. I used to be so hard on myself, and that was so bad for me. I used to doubt myself. I used to have low confidence. And just because I could not forgive myself if I did something wrong, I would beat myself about it and then lead myself into depression because simply I could not forgive myself. And as leaders today, and as Mpolokeng said, you need to forgive yourself. We are giving you the permission. Leaders, forgive yourselves. We are not perfect. We are not perfect beings.
Definitely.
Definitely, right. And there's a comment from Agnes who says, a woman who knows she is and what she can do is unstoppable. Do not compromise with who you are, where your vision is leading you. Do not apologize for being too ambitious. That's where your strength is. Those are very powerful words, Agnes. You don't need to apologize for your being. You need to be yourself. You need to actually have that confidence to say that I can do this. This is me, and take it or leave me. This is me. And Mpo, I can hear you murmuring. Do you have a comment with regards to that?
No, I was just saying, most definitely, don't be apologetic about who you are. Don't be apologetic about who you aspire to be, because when you are busy playing small, people are living it large out there in terms of their aspirations and their dreams. And if there's one thing that I learned at an early age, I remember when I was in varsity, and I was walking to school because I didn't have enough money to take a taxi. So I would walk from my flat to the university, to the campus. I saw a couple in a car, beautiful car, Mercedes-Benz, which is what I love. And they were busy, they were fighting. And I think for me, that's when it dawned on me and I got my light bulb moment. And it's what changed how I viewed things, that, you know what, we look at people's lives and we want to be in their shoes. But you know what? Do we know what is it that they've had to endure to be there? Do we know what it means to keep those goalposts? So it gave me that perspective in life, and not even once from that moment I wanted to live somebody else's life. I've always appreciated mine with its challenges. I've always appreciated it, to say that, you know what, Mpo, you were never born to come and want to live Josie's life. You were born to come and live your life, your purpose, and there's nobody else who's gonna do it like you. So yeah. So I agree with Agnes there as well.
That's right. That's very good. And I like something that you mentioned about contentedness, like just being grateful for what you have and being happy with what you have. Because this gets us back to the point where you spoke about earlier when you said you like something that is not yours, something like that. So being content, be happy with yourself, be happy with your achievements, and then that would help you to lead a better life. And as leaders, please internalize this. Be content with what you have. Make use and make do of what's there. And please keep the questions coming from the chat box, because I'm actually referring back to them and picking up on some interesting comments. There's Natasha Kasonde here who says, which planet is Mpo from? Because you're on fire.
Oh, wow, Natasha. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe that I was brought on this path, and Desiree there, you will forgive me, and Zintle, Lada, you guys facilitators, you'll forgive me because I don't know how much filter I need to put in exercise sensitivity. But a path that I have lived, it's a difficult one. It's a tough one. When you look at me, you see this beautiful woman. I am beautiful, with a beautiful smile on her face mostly all the time. And even if I'm going through the toughest of things, I always have a smile on my face, because I believe that a beauty of life and the ugliness of it, they travel together, they balance each other out. But for me, life started and it changed at an early age, 7 years of age, when you spoke earlier on about Black people not speaking about the depression and the effects of depression and whatnot. I experienced that at 7 years old, when my dad took his own life, shot himself because of depression. But at that time, we didn't know what depression was. We didn't know what trauma is. We didn't know any of those things. And I believe that's what set my path in understanding mental health issues, and always striving to help people live their best versions and helping them to be healthy and be happy and deserving of it all, because we do deserve it. So all of those things, Natasha, they are the ones that brought me to this point where I know, as a matter of fact, that it is possible. I'm a diabetic type 1, where I have to inject myself 4 times a day. And it's something that I do. I do it every day, and I don't allow it to keep me down and make me feel like, oh, but why me? Why not me? If not me, who else should be walking on this path? You know, it's a matter of changing how you see things. It's a matter of changing how you receive things, because at the end of the day, it was always going to be that balancing of the scale. And if you can learn to enjoy the good times and appreciate the bad times as they come along, I'm telling you, you would not live a day wasted ever.
Oh, yes, you superwoman. And so is everyone who is in this women's dialogue tonight with us, discussing these key issues that affect us as women. And I'm just taking note of the time now. It's almost 6. And Desiree, sorry for taking too much of your time. We lost track. And then the Q&A session, I think we can start by giving the floor to the people so that you can respond. If you want to speak, please unmute yourself so that we can talk together.
Thank you, Jose. You know what? You girls are on fire. This is so on point. This is shoo. I'm getting goosebumps. You know, I just said I want to clone the 2 of you. So somebody must just find money somewhere so that we can clone you and plant you in every village in Africa. Women on the platform, I think you have goosebumps. I think your hair is standing at the end and your spinal cord is upright as mine. So let's open this floor and share. Let's see how far we can go. We might go beyond 6. I don't know if anybody has a class after this. Please, you can just excuse yourself and go and join your class, but the rest of us will continue. This is the last day of the session, and there are you know, you touched on some areas which are personal and sensitive, and I'm sure some people can only have this platform to share and pour their hearts out. So let's allow that to happen. Lana and Jules, will you lead us to the questions on the floor and in the chat box?
Okay, I'm looking for hands. Our first question will be from Chimuka Hakalova. Chimuka?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for those encouraging words, for the great insights, Mpolokeng, Josephine. I'm not sure if it was Mpolokeng or Josephine who mentioned to say her life is out there, like on social media. My question is, how far should one go when they're talking about themselves? Because you find that sometimes people will use what you put up about yourself against you. So how do you, maybe I could ask Paul.
Hi. Oh, okay. I think I did hear your question. To be honest, for me,
about your life.
Oh, did I cut you off? I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Chimuka, is your question complete? Did you finish asking your question?
Almost.
Okay.
I was asking to say, have you handled any opposition from people about what you post about yourself, and how have you handled it if you have? Thank you very much.
Okay. In terms of how one should go, I think you, as you know yourself, use your discretion in terms of what you can handle out there and what, in terms of what people would give back and push back and say back to you. I remember a couple of weeks ago, you will see there on my Facebook as well, I posted a video of myself. I was very emotional, and it was the first time actually a lot of people saw me emotional, because they always see this hardcore person. Probably people don't even think I can cry. I'm just thinking, but I do cry because it's my outlet, and I don't waste tears. If they want to come, I allow them to come. So I put a video out there where I was coming from court with one of my friends who had been abused by her husband, and the judge made some comments. You guys will see that video there, and somebody commented on it because they were like, no, it's inappropriate what I was saying. I would get into a lot of trouble and whatnot. And I responded back to them and said that, you know what, this is me giving my opinion. Whether you agree with my opinion or not, it's irrelevant. But that fact is that it is my opinion. I don't put things out there in social media to try and get a flock behind me. I don't do it so that I can convince people into believing in what I believe in. I put things out there to share. I put things out there as an outlet for myself, because as I put it out there, I also heal. And that is part of my healing journey, my healing process. The more I talk about what has hurt me, the better I get, and the more I get my healing. So honestly, I cannot say that do it as much as I do it, or try and be transparent as much as I'm transparent in social media. But I'm going to say that you know yourself, gauge yourself, and do be prepared in terms of if it happens that people say nasty things about you on social media, how are you going to take it? I've gotten that. I've gotten where people say that, yeah, I behave like I'm a know-it-all, I'm a jack of all trades. But fact is that, you know what, it doesn't bother me, because in my mind, it's not what I'm trying to portray about myself. I don't try to portray myself as somebody who knows it all. So gauge yourself and know yourself, and be able to know where to draw the line for yourself. I don't put things out there that could potentially harm my kids, because I do have children. There are a lot of sensitive things that I share in closed meetings when I have my own sessions. But I would not necessarily put it out there into social media, because it will potentially affect my kids. So I don't want to put them in that position as well. So use your own discretion.
Thank you so much, Mpho. And unfortunately, I'll have to take my leave. I've got a 6 p.m. session as well. It was great engaging with you, people, leaders of so many spheres. Thank you so much. And I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Josephine.
Thank you so much, Josephine. Back to Mpolokeng. Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Josephine.
for your response. Indeed, a lot of us suffer from, thinking too much or stressing ourselves about what will people say if I say this, or if I express what I feel, what I think. It's like we don't live our life. We live according to what the next person will say about us. Sometimes if we express ourselves and people say nothing, it still bothers us. So yeah, thank you so much for that. The next question is going to come from Lusekero Manyongo. Okay.
All right. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, please.
All right. First of all, I just wanted to thank the presenters for sharing with us their life, their attributes or life experiences. All right. My question, first of all, I wanted to find out that, okay, if one say, like for me, some of these things are new to me. I just hear about them, but I didn't know them in details, what they are and how one can like practically use them in life, daily life. So I know these are things that are really helpful to someone who is a leader and to be effective in his or her leadership position. So I have the desire to know more about these things. So my first question is that I just wanted to know where I can learn more of these attributes, the emotional intelligence, the what. I know that maybe there might be also other things that you have left out. That's the first thing. The second, then it's on emotional intelligence. I wanted to, wanted just to for the presenters or to share their experiences on how they handle. Say, for example, you are a boss, you have just been employed, being employed as a boss to a certain company. So my question was, okay, on emotional intelligence, how do you handle to people that are new to you, some people that you don't know? Then how do you do it, especially on emotional intelligence? That's where I wanted. How do you do yourself? How do you go about it? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lusekera. Okay, I'm gonna start with the last question because it's the one that I'm remembering now. But handling new people in life, it's a matter of also giving yourself a chance to learn new people. I always say that people respond to our energies. If you are the type of person who gives off negative energy in terms of building walls around you, as opposed to being welcoming and opening yourself up, then people would respond in that very same energy that you also give out. I always say that life is a journey, and for you to ask a question of where to learn and how to be emotionally intelligent, I would say read a lot. I read a lot. I watch a lot of podcasts on YouTube. I use the channel to watch even on Instagram videos. I follow people who somewhat resonates, their message resonates with me, and that's where I learn. So remember that life is a journey. Nobody is born knowing. Nobody is born with the intelligence. It's something that you develop as and you are in the journey of life. So I would say read a lot, and listen to podcasts and follow the right people on social media, as opposed to just people who are always posting food and themselves. Unfollow those ones and go and follow me too. So, because you will learn.
Yeah. I think Lusekero's first question was on how do you instill all these things or qualities that we have been talking about throughout this session. Because perhaps for her it's very difficult. It's easy when you hear about it and you may want to instill all those things in you, but it's so difficult to just start, to just do it. So I hope you can hear what I'm saying.
I do. Is it Julie that's speaking?
Mm.
Yes. Oh, I hear what you're saying, Julie. I want to say get a coach, because a lot of these things you don't just the journey. You need somebody to help you facilitate your route to getting where you want to go in terms of your goals, because you find that there are reasons why you cannot open yourself up to people. It's not something that comes so naturally to you, and there are some things that you will need to unpack. In all honesty, I cannot at the top of my finger say that do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I don't know the journey that you have walked. But in most cases, when you struggle, especially with emotional intelligence, especially with things of mental and character and building your confidence up, I would say that maybe get yourself a coach, a life coach that will help you walk the journey and map out a facilitation route to get to your goals.
Mm. Thank you, Mpo. And also, just to add on top of what you said, I think sometimes we as women, we have to learn to say the word no. I know so many of us struggle just to say no to anything, and I'm sure we've talked about this. You, Mpo, and Jose, I'm sure you've addressed this. We need to learn to say no when we don't want to do something. Say no. It's not just about pleasing other people at the detriment of our own happiness. So baby steps until you reach where you really want to be. Thank you so much, Mpolokeng. The next question is going to come from Tatamo R.
Good evening. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the inspiring sharing and motivation. It was very helpful. My question is how to maintain mental healthiness despite of our environment full of stress and depression. Thank you so much.
Tatamo, before you go, can you please repeat your question?
Yeah, how to maintain mental healthiness despite of our environment full of stress and depression. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm not sure if the environment you refer to would be a workspace environment or it would be your home environment. And it's always so difficult either way to say that remove yourself from that environment. If it's an environment that you are able to remove yourself from, you must remove yourself from it. But I cannot outward say that you must go and do that today because I don't know your dynamics in terms of where you're staying. But like I said earlier on, some of these things, yes, it's easy to say it outright and say remove yourself. But then even with the removing yourself, it's a process. It takes a process whereby you need to check, are you at the stage to be able to live where you are currently staying, to go get a place where you will have more of your peace of mind. So these things, it's not I cannot somewhat advise because I don't know in terms of your own personal space where you stay. And the more I talk about it, it becomes even harder to say that you must remove yourself, be it a workspace. I mean, we are in the times where one cannot just up and leave and quit their workspace just because they are not happy in their workspace, because finding a new job right now, it might not be as easy as saying it. So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. It always makes it easier if we are sitting on one-on-one and I know your life story. I know what you can do, what you can't do. We look at the boundaries, we look at the challenges that you currently are facing, and we map out a solution based on your life and you as an individual.
Yeah, you're completely right. Hope every situation depends with its own circumstances, especially in this case. Yeah. So our next question will be from Victoria.
Good evening. Hello.
Evening, Victoria. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. For me, it's not a question, but actually a contribution. I'm a mental health advocate in my country, Zambia, and I'm so happy that we are getting to talk on women's mental health and also emotional awareness. Emotional intelligence or mental health for women is a difficult subject that they handle because most of the time women are overwhelmed and they just don't know where to turn. And I'm just happy that we're having such a conversation because for me, it's just an eye opener to say I can be who I am and be in my space, both online, on social media, and even in my family, and not feel like someone is judging me. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Victoria. Thank you so much for your contribution as well. I don't know if Mpolokeng would like to say something concerning what Victoria has said.
You're welcome, Victoria. And it's so important that we are comfortable in our own skin and we live our truth. There's nothing as liberating as being able to live your truth, regardless of what that truth is, and be comfortable in your own skin. I see a lot of people being ashamed of
of not being able to say it out loud, to say that, you know what, yes, I was born a female, however, I don't identify as a female or a male. And they subject themselves into situations that compromises who they are. And it's so sad. It's so sad. Not only that, but there's so many examples, you know, where people are compromising so much of who they are, their core, in order for them to be accepted, in order for them to be accepted in society. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you so much, Mpo. Our next hand is from Emma Charity Nkoma. Emma, proceed to ask your question.
Hi, hello, can you get me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you well.
Yes, thank you very much for this insightful conversation. Yes, so my question is, when we talk about daily affirmation, as in talking positive things to ourselves, is it, are we advised to do it publicly, or maybe it should be private? Because I'm thinking of a situation where you are a leader and you tend to be so obsessed with yourself and just talk about yourself all the time and forget that you are leading people and maybe fail to understand them. So like my question is, to what extent can you talk about yourself, and should it be public or private, in terms of like you're a leader and you're trying to lead? So I'm from Zambia. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I think it's Emma. I didn't get your name there, but I think it's Emma. Like I said earlier on, commenting to the other lady asking in terms of what can you put out there, how much should one put out there in the public? In all honesty, it goes according to you and what you stand for and what you believe in. I mean, if you are a leader in terms of a personal trainer, you are bound to take a lot of pictures showing your stunning body so that you attract your clients. So it depends on the space also that you operate in, and your clientele, the people that you are also trying to attract. So I cannot really say that as a leader, don't be self-obsessed. But when it comes to daily affirmations, I don't affirm myself in the public space. I do affirm myself in my private space. You know, that moment where I am going somewhere and I'm dressed up, I tell myself how stunning I look. I tell myself how beautiful I smell. Girl, you know, and to make sure that if it happens that I get out there, nobody sees my stunningness and recognizes my stunningness, I'm not going to be feeling offended and sitting in the corner feeling sorry for myself. I'm going to walk up high because I have already affirmed myself. I've already told myself how beautiful I look. So I can't really say these are the limitations. This is as far as you can go. You set those limitations yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mpompo says you have to affirm yourself first. When you affirm yourself first, you will definitely know the boundaries and the limitations as well when it comes to, you know, talking about yourself, whether in public or in private. Our next hand is going to come from Manana. Manana, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Everyone, thank you so much for the wonderful sessions. My questions is, you mentioned something about good leadership that pertains to showing empathy and connecting to people. My question is, how do you do that without falling victim of emotional blackmail and end up burning out? How do you balance between showing empathy and connecting to people and feeling people's needs without burning out? Thank you.
Okay, I think Julie said it earlier on that one thing that we need to learn is to say no. And one of the things that pushes people into burnout, it's you wanting to be a jack of all masters, wanting to show everybody that I can do it, and wanting to do it all on your own, and not being able to say no. Whatever case comes to your desk, you take it. Whatever that, you take it, and not getting time to yourself.
In the last couple of months, people wear a badge of honor in terms of them working more hours than the normal 8 to 9 hours of a job. And that for me, really, I don't condone such, because I believe that all of us need a rest. And I believe that time out is it's extremely important. And when we talk about a leader and being empathetic, it's a matter of you having the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's a matter of you being able to say, oh, you know what, I hear what you're saying, I recognize what you're going through, and being able to handle situation as and when they come, and not be that type of a leader where things are set on stone and you can't make amendments in terms of suiting the people whom you are leading, your subordinates. And we are not saying that take responsibility of people's feelings, other people's feelings, but in the same breath, recognize that people have feelings. You are in a workspace and you don't expect the people that you're working with to be emotional or to be hurt or to be going through challenges. I mean, all of us in life, we go through challenges. Be able to recognize that and not expect that the people that are working for you or under you seem to be, or you want them to be, or expect them to be all perfect.
Tato, may you please switch off your mic, please?
Leaders, please mute yourselves if you are not recognized to speak. Some background is interfering with what we are doing. Can we identify the mic that is on? I can't see it on my end. Jules and Lana, can you see?
She's just muted. It was Tato. She's just muted herself.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we can proceed, right? Aunties, I don't know if I should proceed or
I wanted to check. I wanted to check with Mpolokeng, time-wise. We've gone beyond what we agreed on. Are you still okay?
Yes, today is the day where actually you guys caught me right. I don't have any other session after this.
Okay. However, I wouldn't like us to go over past. So I think the next, 10 minutes, we can exhaust whatever we need to and let everybody go and chew in their own corners, whatever the way fit tonight. I really liked what you spoke to, Mpolokeng, and the question that the previous leader asked, because I'm reminded of what you spoke about earlier when you address issues of EQ. When you try and self-master, when you are self-aware, and then you have ammunition to self-regulate, so you would know how far to extend yourself to others. So self-regulation is actually very, very important as a leader. Otherwise, you won't have time. You won't have time for yourself. You won't have time for family, and to fill yourself with what you need. You will always, try and overextend to others. So let's be careful as we maneuver spaces where we lead. That you are your first priority in being able to do what you need to do.
Definitely.
Can I proceed, Des?
Yes, Julie.
Yes, please.
Okay. So we have two more hands. The first one is from Onjanirina. Onjanirina. Onjanirina, are you still in the session?
Yes. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. Thank you for your intervention. And I have one question. What can I do? What can I do to have always a positive mental and to extend to each other? Thank you.
Okay, if I understand you right, Anjanirina, you were saying, how can you have a positive mind and extend it to other people? I think that's what you were asking. But the one way you have positive mindset, train your mind. I mean, if your mind is a negative, you're always thinking negative thoughts. Each time a negative thought, a thought pops in your head, replace it with a positive one and balance the scale. There is this analogy that, oh, I love analogy, guys, you will forgive me. There's an analogy that I love using to say that when when a ship comes into to the harbor, right? It needs to have formed and informed the harbor master that we are coming, we are going to park our ship here, and this is what we are carrying, and this is what we're going to offload at this harbor, right? But the minute that the harbor master says, oh, but ship number 121, you did not inform us that you're going to be stopping at our harbor, so therefore you need to go back. The same thing with our minds. Treat your mind as a harbor. And you as the harbor master, you control what parks there at the harbor and what doesn't park there at the harbor, right? So whenever there's a thought that comes and it creeps in, you just simply tell it that, you know what, there's no space for you on this harbor. Go back to wherever you came from and replace it. You know, this thing, displacement method that we learned in biology growing up, I don't even know if it still means the same thing, but yes, replace it with a positive thought. And teach yourself when it comes to other people, teach yourself to compliment people. Where you are walking in a shopping center and you see somebody looking all beautiful, and teach yourself to say, oh wow, you look stunning today, oh you smell great, you know, because sometimes we look at people and we have such positive thoughts towards them, but we never get to tell them. And it's amazing at that one compliment can do to the next person, and not just them, but yourself, having feel that positive energy and just injecting it to yourself. So I would say that learn to replace whatever negative thought that comes, send it back. As you, the harbor master, tell it to go back and replace it with a positive one.
Okay, and is there a difference between positive mental, or it's the same?
I only heard, is there a positive, is there a difference between a positive, but I didn't catch the rest of the question.
Yeah, I didn't as well. Onjanirina, your connection is breaking and we can't hear you, but I'm sure you've heard what Paul said regarding your first question, and also just to add on that, to to emphasize or reiterate on what Umpo has already said, with to say that you have to forgive yourself when you are failing, because it's not a one-day process, but what is more important is consistency. When you continue to train yourself to do that, you definitely master it at some point. So to move on now to the next question, because Onja, your connection is breaking. Unfortunately, I have to move to the next person because it's already 24 minutes past 6 now. And the last question will come from, just a second, let me check is it Emma?
Okay.
Sorry, please, I want to check. Oh, it's Amanda. Amanda, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Amanda.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Amanda. I'm from South Africa. So what I do is that I run an empowerment organization for young women in my community, and I've conducted workshops on different topics. So now I'm planning a workshop on mental health, and I must say, tell Mpolokeng that what you have said to us today is very informative. And as you are championing the issues of mental health, which few points or topics I can put on the program concerning or aligned with mental health issues? Thank you.
Hi, Amanda. Maybe one of them could be on how to declutter. You know, one of the things that causes us as human beings to crash mentally as well is because there's so much clutter. If you look at it this way, when you clean up your house and you take out the dirt in your house, you know, you are able to take all of that clutter into a bag, and then you leave it outside for the refuse people to come and pick it up and take it wherever, right? It's so easy to declutter physical things, tangible things, but it's always so hard to declutter our minds because these are not things that we can see with our eyes, our physical eyes, and they are not tangible. So maybe cover on that in terms of decluttering. What is decluttering and how can one declutter? And speak about anxiety and speak about trauma. One of the things that makes people depressed as well, it's been stuck in our past due to our past traumatic experiences, and also to be anxious about the future. Yes, we aspire for greater things in future, but the minute that the future causes us to be anxious about it, there's a problem there. So looking forward, it should never be bring anxiety, but it should rather bring hope, as in inspire you to be hopeful for what is yet to come. But the minute it comes as anxious, then it's problematic. So maybe you can cover topics like that, anxiety. You can cover, I don't know if you will have somebody who will be able to cover the part of trauma because it's very sensitive, cover the topic of trauma as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Yep.
Okay, so that was our last hand, unless I'm missing something. But at this point, I just want to say thank you, Paul, and also to thank Josephine in absentia. You know what? You have no idea of the impact, of the huge impact that you have given to the yearly participants from this cohort 12, and we really appreciate your presence. What makes me happy is you know who you are. So obviously there's no need for me to keep on emphasizing or doubt whether you know the kind of impact that you have. I mean, when I was listening, when you were speaking, Paul, I can fully and tell that you definitely know who you are. You definitely know the impact that you give to people, and that alone is a great thing, and we really appreciate your presence. I would like to take this opportunity to give this the platform to close for us.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you so much for your words. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks, Jules. Lena, are you still here with us?
Yes, I am. I'm listening in.
Yes,
There was only really one question from the chat. Well, two questions from the chat. I'll just pose them quickly. The one question was, as a leader, we get to have a lot of work. How do you balance your work and your personal life without feeling guilty that you have a lot of work? And then just work-life balance. And the second question was just about the difference between positive mental health and positive mind. Just distinguishing between the two. And I actually think that Desiree was asking me to end the session, but okay, sorry about that. Just those two questions from the chat.
No, it's fine. Can we take them, and then maybe Lana, I just want you to think, give your last word of thinking before I wrap up.
Okay, so they say the first question, I don't know, I jotted here as you were talking so that I can remember, but I think we need to distinguish to what is our priorities and what is important when we assess in terms of what to handle now in the moment in terms of our workload. Learn what is important and learn what is priority. Something can be important, but in that moment, it's not a priority. That is something that can wait.
So don't prioritize things based on the fact that it's important. As an example, maybe there is Lana in my life. She's my best friend. And there is Desiree, whom Desiree is asking me to help her with a certain activity. Lana is there as somebody who is important in my life, but in that moment, Desiree could be the one who is a priority. So you need to learn and distinguish between what is important and what is a priority. If something can wait, in all honesty, let it wait. As women, you come back from work, you are extremely tired. You want to start cleaning up, doing the laundry and ironing and whatnot. You know what? The dirt in your house can wait tomorrow. And if it can wait for tomorrow, let it wait for tomorrow and rest and give yourself that moment to and to rest. I hope that I did answer you. I think I did answer you. Did I answer, Lana?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. The importance of prioritizing. Okay, thanks also Mpolokeng there for she did leave her LinkedIn, her Instagram handle, or I'm not really in with the lingo, Instagram page. And then I'm not sure if you want people to follow you on Facebook, Mpolokeng.
Yes, they can go ahead. I often have lives there where people can
I've listened to those.
ask questions. Thank you so much. And ask questions, more than welcome to do so.
And then discerning between the difference between distinguishing rather between positive mental health and positive mindset. Is there a distinguishing factor?
Okay, a mental health. It's like an entity, right? I think I'm gonna. This is the best way to explain it. It's like the mother company, and your mind. It's on a day-to-day basis. So whatever that you do in your mind on a day-to-day basis banks into you, and it comes into your mental wellness. So mind on a day-to-day basis, it's a build up. So it is important to have a positive mindset, because that positive mindset, it's the one where each and every day you feel down and whatnot, and then you get up and it kicks you up and say, girl, there's no time for you to procrastinate. Get onto that task, do it to the best of your ability, show up, get dressed, show up, and go do your thing. However, when it comes to mental wellness as the mother body, it's whereby you have over exhausted yourself, and then either it crashes, or either you find people being depressed, you find people having bipolar. Well, bipolar, it's not so much, it's a hereditary illness, if I can put it like that. But yes, so yeah, the mother body and the day-to-day. I hope it makes sense. I make sense.
Yes, okay. So so I will then be just saying a big thank you, Mpolokeng. I know we were together with our first cohort in February 2018. I still remember you from there. You've lost some hair since then. You've gone a bit shorter with your hair and blonde. I remember you with Ronaldo all the time, and I believe you still have a relationship with her, who was always obsessing about food quality assurance. That's like every single conversation I had went somehow we all led to food quality assurance, and I'm like, okay, so she's really obsessed with that. So there you can see the platinum blonde, and she shaved her head since 2018. It looks really good on you. Thank you so much for spending the last two sessions with us and imparting that knowledge, those pearls of wisdom. And I'm sure you've set the tone now for personal and professional development within the female leadership of this cohort, and looking forward to engaging with you further on in the program. I wish I was as camera ready as you are right now, so I can show my face, but unfortunately did not prepare for that. So thank you so much. And I'm sure your viewership will go up. You'll get more likes and more following. She has very interesting talks on real life issues, being in an abusive relationship. I think I listened to that one, being a rape survivor. I remember that one. I remember watching the one where you broke down after that court session. I didn't really watch it that long, but I'm aware of that video. So do follow her, do like her pages. She's Mpolokeng the coach. Do seek her mentorship. I think she comes at a cost. So do seek her. And thank you so much for your time. I would really appreciate it.
It's only my pleasure. It's only my pleasure.
Desiree?
Sure. Thank you so much, each and every one of you who were able to stay on until this long and this far. I'm sure you could take what you needed for yourself and carry it forward. And remember to also share what you can share from what you have learned. Mpolokeng, thank you so much. Breath of new life. I think you filled us over again, all of us. You reminded me of so many things. As we go on in life, some of these things we forget, and you reminded me of so many things. And please do go on and explore on the issues of trauma. They are so wide, and in this time of, living isolated lives, you can't imagine how many people come back to me with trauma issues as women. And just the other day, we were looking at the issue of what I call wounds of the womb, a concept which is about the traumas that we absorb from our mothers as they give birth to us and we give birth to others. Intergenerational wounds in families. It's such a big scope that we also need to zoom into. But Lana and Jules and every other facilitator who's been able to stay onto this platform, please, as the women in your cohorts have issues, we spoke the other day about walking a little bit extra mile. I think this has opened that door for us. Mpolokeng and Jose has also made that call, silently not knowing what you're going through with participants, to say this calls for us to walk a little bit further with personal journeys, of our participants, and let's self-extend to do that as well. But leaders, let's stop here before we go on to quarter two. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful journey, this session and the previous one, and we look forward to doing this again with the next cohort in Mpolokeng.
Thank you so much, Desiree, for having me. And yes, just call, I'll be there.
Thank you so much. Leaders, let it be a wonderful, restful evening as we look forward to tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for such an